we're very happy to have Chair Dominic Zanger, Dom, from the Board of Supervisors. Let me just tell you a little bit about Dom's background. So he represents District 1, which basically, and it is confusing, we were just talking about it. Used to be all North County, now it's really more Northeast. Essentially, where we are right now is District 4, Angela's district. John Smith Road is kind of the cutoff, and then as you head north and a bit east would be District 1. Dom was, I had to go back and remind myself, I should know this because I was kind of involved. Dom and I shared, I think, 1 or 2 meetings together, but he was first elected in November of 2022 to serve the final 2 years of Mark Medina's term. And Mark had resigned suddenly and moved to Florida. So Dom stepped in, and he and I overlapped slightly. Him being very young and me being very old, I tried to pass on some advice to him and wisdom. That conversation lasted probably about 5 minutes, I would say. I don't know if you remember that, but anyway, Dom and I did overlap briefly, and then he was reelected at the end of 2024 to serve a full 4-year term, which he's in the middle of right now, goes through 2028. Dom was unanimously elected board chair earlier this year, and he was, of course, many of you know the Zanger family, born and raised here in San Diego County, comes from a very long generational family. He's got how many generations is your daughter now, would be?
A lot.
A lot. He's got a 2-year-old at home that he's waiting to, I guess, debate county issues with. She's maybe a few months away from that. But anyway, Dom's going to talk to us about issues and priorities for the county, and then we will have an opportunity to have plenty of questions to answer. So, without further ado, Dom Zanger.
All right, thank you, Bob. Thank you everyone for having me here today. Happy to be here to talk about some things. I'm not going to go on too long, and there's a lot that we could talk about, but I just had to pick out a few things that I thought were important, some things the county's working on, some things that we're in the middle of, we're focusing, and so I have some slides here. We're going to go through it and just talk about a few things. See if I can figure out how to use this. All right, board priorities. So these are the priorities that the county board voted on to focus on for this year. Now this doesn't mean this is all we're doing, of course. It's a lot we're working on, but these are just some areas that we want to hone in on and focus on, in addition to some of the priorities from the prior year. So we have facility improvements, finances, public safety, road improvements, parks. We're going to talk about all this today a little bit. I do want to point out, I think the only thing that's lacking in the presentation in the slides is the public safety, and I just want to touch on that really quickly. Something that we've been working on that's been a long-standing issue in the county is communications with our public safety, with our sheriff's department. The radios don't work well in parts of the county. It's been an ongoing issue for years and years. Happy to say we finally are in the process of finalizing that correction. So it's a multi-million-dollar communication infrastructure upgrade that we're doing so that these guys can actually talk to each other. All of our officers will be able to talk, and there's no dead spots, there's no issues, and so that's a big public safety improvement that we've been working on, and we're happy that we're moving forward on that one. So first, I want to go through home of Pinnacles National Park. So Board of Supervisors unanimously approved branding the county as the home of Pinnacles National Park. Now, if you've been to any county with a national park that is part of their county or adjacent, they capitalized on that. They capitalized on that for tourism, basically, and we have been lacking in that a little bit. And so this is just one effort we're making to sort of capitalize on that national park we have. I think we have, I'm going to mess the number up, but I want to say over 300,000 visitors a year to Pinnacles National Park. And so we're trying to just capture some of that and really become home of Pinnacles National Park. As you can see there, we have the new logo, and then we have the logo with the Home of Pinnacles National Park ribbon on the bottom. And in the future, the idea is to do a full branding campaign. But for now, we're going to go through this slowly. It doesn't have to happen all at once, but little by little, we add things and take steps towards just rebranding a little bit more in hopes of boosting tourism activity in local businesses. Next, I want to talk about the library expansion. So, this has been a work in progress for a long time now, and anyone that's been following the library expansion knows that it's not been a smooth road, it's not been super quick, but we're moving forward on it. Now, the library, when was it built, the current library? 1960. The county has grown a little bit since 1960, so we need to expand. We need to renovate and expand, and this is what we're going to do. Now, we workshopped a lot of different options. We talked about, oh, well, there's the fire in the old courthouse. Could we use that building? Could we do this or that? In the end, we're going to go with the current space. It makes the most sense in terms of the grant that the county pursued and was awarded. So where the library is now, that space will be expanded, renovated, and we're in the middle actually of continuing to pursue some further grant funding to help fund the rest of it. I think we just did that last week. We put in the request for further grant funding, so hopefully we get that and we can keep moving forward on this. But this is one of the projects that's been on for years. I think, Bob, this was when you guys started this process, right? Yeah, exactly. So this has been a long time coming. We're going to keep working through it, and happy that we're finally finalized on what we're doing and we can start moving forward. Next is the hotel incentive program. So this actually we did at the end of last year. The board went through this process. This came from the tourism committee to the board, and there was pretty much consensus that this is a good idea. This is what we want to do. We do have to finalize some of the details. Supervisor Curro and I are on an ad hoc to do that, to finalize the details. But what it is basically is we need more hotels. The hotels that we have here in town, in Hollister, particularly the two large ones, they're running near capacity a lot of the time, and that's because of Pinnacles. And we know that because we ask the staff there, what's everyone doing? Where are they coming from? Why are they staying? They say it's Pinnacles. It's all Pinnacles. A lot of people from the East Bay, Bay Area, San Jose, and so we need more hotels. And so this idea is we basically give a little bit of the TOT, the transient occupancy tax, back for a certain amount of time if they build a new hotel or they renovate an existing hotel. Like I said, the details are working out, but the idea is, hey, build a hotel here, and for the next 10 years, you'll get X% of the TOT sent back to you to help cover that. So that's the idea, and this isn't groundbreaking in terms of this program. This has been done in a lot of places, a lot of cities, a lot of counties do this, and so we're sort of just copying what they're doing rather than reinventing the wheel. Cannabis tax question on the ballot. So I put this on the slide because it's going to be on the ballot, and so I figure anything on the ballot is probably worth discussing a little bit. And it's a little confusing, this issue. So this is going to be on the June ballot, and basically we're going to be asking voters if they would like to decide on a new tax rate for cannabis cultivation activity. So what it is the businesses that want to come and cultivate cannabis, want to grow here somewhere in the county, there'd be a tax, and the county gets some of that money from the tax. Now what happens is, this is why it's confusing, there is a tax in place. It was set years ago. However, it was set at a prohibitively high number, so no one wanted to come cultivate. There was no incentive to do it. It was just too prohibitive. So that was suspended to see if growers would actually want to show up. They did show up. Now we have people that want to grow here, and so now we need to assign a new tax rate that makes sense for everyone. It makes sense for the growers, it makes sense for the county, and what we have suggested right now, it works for the industry and in terms of the county. If we go with the minimum of what we have right now, we're looking at somewhere between 2 to 10 million, depending on what the rate would be. That's what we have proposed in terms of actual money that the county would get. So it's pretty significant. It's more significant than I was expecting, and I think it's one of those things where it can be a divisive issue, and there's arguments on each side of it. But the point is, if it's here, we want to get some money from it. The Riverview Regional Park. This is to be located just south of the high school. You can see the high school up there. Now, this looks nice, and if you go there right now, it doesn't look like this yet. Now, when did this start, Bob?
Well, when I was on the board, yeah.
Okay, so a long time ago. No, so we've been working this for a long time, and the idea is a regional park along the river there. You can see we have tennis courts, pickleball fields, walking trails, picnic areas. It's going to be very nice. However, it seems like the park that just never gets built because there's one hiccup after another. And one of the most recent ones was our good friend, the California tiger salamander. So anyone in the area knows these are
Delicious.
they're delicious. They're not delicious. They can be they can be a bit of a hiccup in projects. They can be a bit of a speed bump. And so what happened was the federal government said, you know what, we think you're all good, no tiger salamanders here, go ahead. Then the state government said, hold on, we think there's salamanders, so you got to pay $2.2 million to mitigate the issue. We said, okay, well, there goes about half of our parks, so that's not going to work. So we negotiated with the state actually, and over the course of months, and we're very grateful for this, the state's worked with us. We got that $2.2 million initial number down to $160,000. This makes the park feasible. This makes a lot of those things that we dreamed of having feasible again. And so we're happy that we got that number down, we can pay that. And we're moving forward now with the first phase, which is the parking lot, which you can see in the top right there. And then little by little, I think we're breaking down into 3 or 4 phases, where we'll get all these different amenities and projects within the park set. So this is one of those things where it's something the community needs. We need more parks. I think everyone agrees on that. I hear a lot about that, at least from my residents. Hey, we don't have enough parks. We need more walking trails. We need more this and that. This is a really good answer to that. This is a good solution. It's going to be a great place for community gatherings, for events. So we're very excited to keep moving forward on this. County wayfinding. I threw this in the slides here because we just talked about this. The idea is something similar to what you'll find in Gilroy and Morgan Hill, or just signage, consistent signage that highlight our attractions to boost tourism. Now, there's a lot you can do with this. You could get really grandiose, big decorative signs. You could get really minimal. So this is just one example here. There's some photos, but you've seen these in other communities. The idea is just a consistent signage where it all looks the same throughout the county, and it highlights different points of the county. So Pinnacles, the Mission, the Wine Trail, Hollister Hills, things like that. The state we are right now, the board was supportive of this, but there was sort of a consensus that, well, we don't know if we have the funding for something like this at the moment. We need to focus where we can focus. So for now, we're just going to work on developing it a little bit so that when we have that funding, we go through the budget, we're ready to go when we can be. The next state right now is stakeholder meetings that we're working on through the tourism committee. So I just wanted to make an announcement that if anyone wants to be part of that, if anyone wants to have input on what a county wayfinding plan would look like, what we should highlight, what the signs would look like, where we put them, things like that, reach out to me after this. We'll make sure that you're part of the stakeholder meeting so we can get your input so that we can make sure that we're doing this right, because we want to do it right. You can't talk about anything if you don't talk about roads. This is a little bit of the road update, a little snapshot of what we're doing right now. Currently underway, the repaving of Union Road, San Juan Highway. Union specifically is going to be huge. I mean, this is one of the big roads for a lot of commuters. A lot of people drive Union every single day, and it needs help. It needs work. It needs repaving. Very happy that we're finally moving forward on Union Road. Scheduled projects paid for with grant funding: Salinas Road, Lovers Lane, Shore, Cienega. Also, a lot of those commuter roads, a lot of those terrible roads. Lovers Lane, if you've been out there after the flooding, the road is a disaster. Shore Road, I don't know how many thousands of cars every day. So these are important roads that we need. Cienega Road, our wine trail, right? We're trying to promote tourism, but we need to be able to drive up there. So these roads are in the pipeline. And then also the remainder of Fairview Road, with Measure G funded for this year. Ideally, later this year, the rest of Fairview Road, which is near and dear to my heart as District 1. I get a lot of complaints about Fairview Road. And with the roads, I understand everyone wants their road fixed. I want the road that I live on fixed. And we want to get to all those roads. We really do. And we're going to keep working through this. We're going to get to them. but we gotta start with these high-speed, high-traffic roads. That's where we need to start. Once we get all these done, once we get safety prioritized, then we can start chopping off all those little roads. I got 10 roads right off of Fairview in my district that probably need work. And I think every supervisor has roads that need work. And so we're gonna keep working through that, chopping those down, and we're gonna work on, if there's traffic lights, we're gonna install at different locations, different safety things, but I'm really happy with the progress that we're actually making on a lot of these major commuter roads, because I see questions on the roads. Of course, I got the questions on the roads here. One second. Do you want to get any questions now, or do you want to save them?
We'll get to questions soon.
All right, you heard him. I would have answered. He said no. So that's the current road update, and we'll take questions right now. I think that's all I have for you anyway. So that's a little snapshot of some of the things that we're working on and some priorities that we have right now, and some of the challenges ahead. So that's all I have. I think we can do questions now, right, Bob?
Let's go to questions.